Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather, everybody. I'm your host, smAsho, aka Dan, talking to you from behind the toilet paper microphone, looking at the sun here in 335 angstroms. Small active region rising in the northeast. No sunspots, weak solar activity. We'll look at a lot of data. Here's the magnetogram. Here's 171 angstroms here over on helioviewer.org. And let's get rid of the magnetogram. There's 304 angstroms as well. Filamentary activity looks like it's settled down quite a bit. And there's the orangish view that we used in yesterday's thumbnail. Here's a 304 angstroms view, and this, like the previous SDO video, is 48 hours. And I can see that filament collapse there. It looks like it splashed back down onto the chromosphere. We don't see any Earth-facing coronal mass ejections going on right now. We'll show you Stereo A's view momentarily. KP index off of its highs of 3, now down to 2. And the 10.7 centimeter radio flux has dropped off a cliff back down to 68 now. It was 71 yesterday, now down to 68. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. There's where things will be in a week, as Venus is about to swing past and Mercury's catching up. Here's a star chart, in-the-sky.org. And if you've got clear skies, you should be able to see the Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars if you're located on the part of the planet that I am. And for you new viewers, subscribers, supporters, etc., we are located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. X-ray flux is totally flatlined over the past 2.5 days. And so is the proton flux. No surprise there. No coronal mass ejections or big coronal hole wind streams showing up. And we're going to talk cosmology briefly. So, some interesting stuff coming out once again. We're going to be talking about Large Magellanic Clouds. So, the Large Magellanic Cloud, if you're not aware, is this satellite galaxy of the Milky Way. There are giant filaments that are actually, I believe it's something like this, that stretch all the way into the galaxy, as if perhaps this was ejecta. Or perhaps it's an orbiting smaller galaxy that's interacted with the Milky Way in the past. The Large Magellanic Cloud. Well, inside the Large Magellanic Cloud, there is an area known as the Tarantula Nebula, and inside of that nebula is a substructure called LHA-120N-N150. That's LHA-120-N150. And this is what astronomers will refer to as a stellar nursery, and that has to do with its X-ray output and so on. Anyway, an article here on SciTech Daily about this substructure of the Tarantula Nebula. If you want to read about it, it's located on, this one is located on SciTech Daily. It's probably all over the astronomy, cosmology, science wires. And I believe there was something to comment on this, but I don't remember what it was at all. I believe it's an opportunity to study massive bright stars, and we're not going to get into the HR diagram or stellar life cycles or anything like that, as this is the daily space weather video. We're going to have to save that for future cosmology segments. And pardon the not coming up with more videos lately, folks. It's just that we've been way too busy with way too much COVIDiocy to be able to produce more stuff. Now let's talk about the channel Sky Scholar. A recent video came out entitled "The Microwave Background, COBE Satellite Results Explained." It's a good video if you understand it. It may be a little bit over your head. I heard a lot of people talking online about how it's well over their head, and it's largely talking about signal-to-noise ratio, which brings me to his video about the Haruni antenna. So the Haruni antenna is a very unique antenna located in the mountains of Armenia. Unlike this horn antenna, the Haruni has an integral design, not like a parabolic antenna. So while it may look a bit like one, it is not at all. And this has to do with signal-to-noise ratio. So there's a reason why you want to build an antenna in the mountains surrounded by rocky peaks. And without fully explaining the integral design and the way it cancels out noise, you don't want to have your antenna close to large bodies of water. And so anyway, please watch the video about the Haruni antenna if you haven't. We're trying to resurrect the Haruni antenna. I think he's trying to raise funding here. Let's see. Anyway, there's a bunch of interesting links there about the Haruni antenna underneath the Sky Scholar video. So I'd invite you to watch that, please. You may want to watch this one too, Real Physics Talk with Unziker's Real Physics. That's a good one too. But most importantly, watch his current video, as there's some important stuff about Lagrangian points. So he does a great explanation of Lagrangian points. If you're not familiar with those are points, gravitational anchor points in space, where it's very easy to keep an object at a given location. It's very important to understand this when it comes to astronomy cosmology, because when you're measuring the cosmic microwave background here at L1, in between the Earth and the Sun, you're getting a completely different signal than you're getting here at L2. And I'm not going to get into the reasons behind that, but watch the video. And if you think Nibiru is back here, please don't leave a comment. No, you can leave a comment if you like. Leave a comment anyway, folks.
Where the orbital motion of the body and the gravitational forces perfectly balance each.
In other words, you can put a spacecraft there and with very little thruster input keep it at that location. By the way, stereo A is located here and stereo B is located here for that reason.
Each other. As a result, any object placed at a Lagrange point will tend to hover about that location.
So anyway, you get the idea. Watch the videos. If you haven't read 40 Lines of Evidence for Condensed Matter, Liquid Metallic Hydrogen as a Solar Building Block, please do. It's free online. You can go read it. And here ends today's cosmology segment as we go back to some more local cosmology, talking about the real-time solar wind. Phi angle currently around 136 degrees. Nothing too exciting happening with the BTBZ in the top pane, and solar wind density down to 3.3 protons per cubic centimeter. A pretty diffuse solar wind here, and the speed's ramped up a little bit since yesterday, but still quite backgroundy at 339 kilometers a second. Here is the geospace magnetosphere movies. Here are the geospace magnetosphere movies, starting out with the pressure from zoomed way out at the magnetosphere. After this, we'll look at ground magnetic perturbations during this magnetic excursion. Nothing too exciting going on there. It's a pretty steady solar wind and no major magnetic shifts happening. I believe we are back in the South Pole-oriented portion of the current sheet. We'll talk about it in a moment. First, here's the ground geospace magnetic perturbations, and we don't see a lot of induced magnetic perturbations here. No surprises there. And this time all the data is corroborating. Cheers. GOES magnetometer is spiky and all over the place, and I believe this right here was probably, somewhere in this area, was probably the crossing into the North Pole current sheet. I mean back into the South Pole current sheet rather, because you could see we had this smooth little period, and now we're back into the spiky stuff of the South Pole, and here's why I say so. So the forecast came true, the magnetic forecast that we did yesterday, which is the most important and most difficult forecast to come up with. It's the magnetic forecasting. It's not easy. So, yeah, back in the South Pole current sheet again by now. Keep in mind the data is 1 hour and 29 minutes old, and that the magnetic environment can change with basically no warning. So here's the view from stereo A that we talked about. No coronal mass ejections, as you can see. I'll let that play through a second time before we move on to the line of sight field plot on the gong too. There's the line of sight field plot. And pretty steady there as well. Relativistic electron flux is very low. There's the data from Solon.info. Here's the total electron content, and you can see very low total electron content once again. And here's the GOES electron flux. At least the GOES 16 is sending back data. This is the greater than or equal to 2 mega electron volts electron flux. And still very low levels there. Keep in mind, these N's and M's refer to noon and midnight local time for the satellite. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the data. Next, looking at the ionosphere, it's looking a little anomalous once again on the nighttime side. Big charge ups and big charge downs. And it's not looking very, it's not looking particularly tidy right now. But it's not looking incredibly anomalous either. Here's the current image. This one is 9 o'clock UT. And you can see a bit of a charge up happening here on the nighttime side, and it's pretty discharged here on the daytime side. Keep in mind the sun is probably around about this area here. That's about where the sun would probably be. And let's move on as we stream live before sunrise. We're going to look at windy.com's pressure maps, and we're going to advance this via the GFS forecast. About 24 hours into the future, we see that dry air evaporating there. Not evaporating, we see it moistening over northern Canada. And now creeping down into the U.S. There's where things will be at 1300 hours tomorrow, and that's Eastern Daylight Time. I'm located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, folks. And again, thanks to all of our new viewers, subscribers, etc. Let's check out earthquakes. Starting with this deep one, coming in yesterday at 1509 UT, Universal Time. That stands for, by the way, it's a 4.1 at 159 kilometers in Afghanistan. Another deep quake at Afghanistan, close by, practically in the same location there. That one's 200 kilometers, 204 kilometers, and a greater magnitude. If that one happened at the surface, that would be about a 5.7. And then coming in only about 15 minutes later, we see a deep quake right on the other side of the world there. A 5.5 magnitude deep quake at 117 kilometers near the Atacama Desert in western South America in Chile. Let's check the location of that one just to see which side of the Andes it's on. So near the three-way border of Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile is where that one happened. It looks pretty sparsely populated there. A couple small towns may have felt that, such as Calama. And there's a location of that deep quake. Back to the list. So quite a few quakes, nothing over a 6 magnitude, I think. We saw a decent quake here in California. And it looks like it's near San Diego. We don't need to zoom in on that. Here's a nearly 100-kilometer deep quake at Colombia, followed by, and that's only 20 minutes later, a 4.6 at Fiji. And the 4.6 at Fiji was at 340 kilometers depth. Volcano rundown includes Karimsky, still on the list, 18,000-foot ash plume there. Abico, 5,000-foot plume there. Aso, Mount Aso, flight level 6,000 there. Sakurajima exploded, produced a 6,500-foot ash plume. High levels continue there. Dacono, flight level 7,000 there. And the big story is Mauna Loa showing up on the list once again as the summit continues to inflate as detected by GPS, consistent with magma supply. And 74 small magnitude earthquakes on the summit and upper elevation flanks. And we've reported on many, many earthquakes at a negative depth occurring in the magma chambers of Mauna Loa. Santiaguito in Guatemala, still erupting, flight level 11,000 there. we'll say 12,000. Fuego, some lava flows happening there. So big uptick at Fuego, I believe. 16,000 foot ash plume there. Sangay. So this is a volcanic uptick, a legit volcanic uptick, folks. Sangay exploding, flight level 22,000. Revenador exploding, flight level 15,000. And Sabancaya exploding, flight level 24,000. Intermittent puff emissions are not your invitation to puff, puff, pass on the lower flanks, because you could end up frightened, very, very frightened. The same way certain entities want you to be very, very frightened about you-know-what. I would say go out and get some sun and cause the to happen. It takes about 5 minutes for sunlight to kill the, not kill, but destroy the thing at room temperature. I don't know if you're aware. One of the things you can do when you're locked up is you can listen to original music. You can download it for either 99 cents or $1.25 per track. Man, Gem Cutter's made it all the way up to 40. So we've got a bunch of charted music now once again. Thanks everybody who's going over and listen over at SoundClick. It's soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. And all the music that we play on the channel is typically original unless we're given a shout out or a recommendation. One of the things you could do is you could watch The Electric View, a sausage party hosted by Neil Thompson. Perhaps that'll be interesting. I doubt it, but it could be. Also, maybe check us out on social media like Minds. And let's ask the Family Feud survey gods a question. Facebook is the future of social media. Survey said? Oh, man. So anyway, check out Minds, minds.com/smAsho. Perhaps send us some tokens as we're running out and we need to boost our posts and we can't do it. Have you been noticing people, as well as corporations, as well as governments, have been tending to
aggrandize
claims about how spooky and scary certain things are? Certain things like carbon dioxide and certain things like SARS-CoV-2. Well, we're going to aggrandize something. Some music. And I don't know if you know what that is, but that is a Boss DR770. So Tony, if you're watching, I know you don't have a drum kit at your house. We will send you a DR770 so you can do the drums artificially. Don't worry, they work great, folks. It sounds like real drums. Now, yesterday in the Diamond Anvil Too Hard to Smash, I made the video very brief, and we talked about Jerusalem artichokes a bit. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's episode 7. So that's by far the shortest edition of the Diamond Anvil Too Hard to Smash, and it is available on both YouTube and on BitChute. And by the way, BitChute, we haven't forgotten about the 150 subscriber spectacular special. We'll do it. We'll just talk about whatever. And we can't wait to see the platform upgraded to the point where we can live stream. And we're getting amazing numbers of views over there. Much, much more views than over on YouTube. Probably an indication of censorship. What would you say? We're also on Twitter. So if you haven't checked us out there, where else are you going to get? Where else are you going to get the Bernie economics meme? Where else are you going to find that? Well, it is on Minds also, by the way. And if you haven't checked out smashamash.org, you can link to the forums from there. The Smashamash forum. There's a link right down there at the bottom. And we're going to be upgrading this soon. Aren't we, Smash staff? By the way, Smash staff gets 25% of our Patreon proceeds. So please donate to us. And let's talk about Google, who's hit the news in an article by Katie Kiefer on townhall.com. Let me read you a little paragraph to tease you about this one. By the way, this is on smashamash.com/forum. We picked up this story and accredited it properly. So there's a thread in the free-for-all forum called Google is a Scam, Not a Verb. So please stop using it as a verb before my ears bleed. Let me read you a quote out of this interesting article, which was zero surprise to me. Just bear with me one moment, folks, as there's a little bit of censorship happening. And certain companies want to be a publisher, and they want to be a platform, and they want to exercise all the benefits of both. So that's a bit of a problem. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the search engine manipulation effect, but it's pretty serious. And this article even suggests that you should consider switching to DuckDuckGo instead of other search engines to get your search results, because back in the mid-90s when I started using search engines in college, the results were fairly objective. So let's just talk a bit about Don't Be Evil. Don't Be Evil was explicit to Google's motto and code of conduct for some 15 years. In 2015, they updated the motto. They got rid of the Don't Be Evil and switched it to Do the Right Thing. Now, perhaps they've actually switched it to Be Evil or Do the Wrong Thing, but the point is, why did they remove Don't Be Evil? Well, let me just explain a little bit about how it got in there in the first place. Google's executives met with engineers and they said, oh my gosh, these crazy powers that we have, how are we going to keep our powers under control? And, you know, what should we do about this? And the engineers said, I don't know, don't be evil. So the executives idiotically decided to put that in their corporate charter, which was a complete fail, because when their lawyers saw it, they said, hey, do you realize that having don't be evil in your corporate charter indicates that you know you have the capacity to be evil? So get rid of that promptly before you end up sued. So anyway, I don't know if you've noticed that the propaganda and the completely phony articles and censorship have been at an all-time high on the internet lately, and we'd prefer not to talk about it, but there's no way around it. So anyway, I wanted to read one other part here, because this article backs up stuff that I've been saying for years, since probably 2015, but at least 2016. And I don't know why am I not finding this? Okay. Here's another quote from the article. This is the next step in the evolution of the internet. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt lauded Google's purchase of YouTube for $1.65 billion in 2006. We know now Schmidt's definition of internet progress ostensibly centers around inducing users to think like him. I mean, centers around inducing users to think like him by using YouTube to push assenting views and censor differing perspectives under the guise of legality or neutrality. So I don't know if you're aware, but Eric Schmidt's actually making some decisions for New York now, and it's pretty spooky and sketchy for real. Eric Schmidt, creepiest man in tech. I don't know if you're aware of it. Read the article. And by the way, if you want a link to articles from smashomash.com/forum, you head down to the bottom, you right-click on that there, that's the number of the post. You click copy link address, and now when you paste that link someplace, it'll take you right to that specific post. This is post ID 743. So in any case, check it out, smashomash.com/forum, all kinds of useful information there. If you want to read about ABERT, the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology, type in mygoogleresearch.com and it will redirect you to abert.org, where there's all kinds of interesting psychology information on there. We won't get into it. There's also an extensive section on coronavirus in the Free-for-All forum. So please head there. Consider signing our petition to recall Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf today. And let's talk about another ridiculous article. The FDA now says our dogs and cats should practice social distancing too. So, well, thank you, Science Alert. Oh my goodness. Keep your dogs and cats apart. Did you know that there was a tiger diagnosed with the coronavirus at the Bronx Zoo? Did you pray for Brenda, or whatever her name is? Well, 4 more tigers and 3 lions have also tested positive. Oh, no! Oh, my gosh. Not the tigers and lions. Apparently, dogs are a little bit less susceptible than cats. If you want to read this article and It might make your eyes bleed. It's on sciencealert.com. Also, another thing you can do when you're locked up because the government said to be, or perhaps if you're wearing masks in a store because the government said you must, or perhaps the stores just said you must, which makes me not want to enter them. How about locals? It's locals.com, and it's smAsho.locals.com for our local community. And we've just added somebody that we're following. It sounds interesting, and keep in mind it's completely unvetted. And I just want to see the locals page here. I'll just type it in. Check it out. smAsho.locals.com. Go register over there. And anyway, we've just connected with another one of the locals. It's an interesting experiment in gaming. We won't get into it in this video. And here's the article from Town Hall, by the way. This is the one by Katie Kiefer about Google's monopoly on speech. Now, Google isn't only the world's largest search engine. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. Google also owns about 60% of the world's servers, which means most of the non-pornography data goes through Google servers. We won't get into the breakdown of data. So again, check us out on Minds if you haven't, minds.com/smAshomash. We are on Facebook as well. It's facebook.com/smAshomash. You can find the petition to recall Governor Tom Wolf, the ineffective, useless governor of Pennsylvania, who's doing more harm than good, creating a cure that doesn't work and is more deadly than Cars Sovid 2. Stop driving around with masks on in your cars and stop being so scared of SARS. We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/smAshomash. And check out this sign in New Jersey. For those of you who missed yesterday's video, permitted at Ocean City, New Jersey is walking, running, exercising, surfing, or fishing as long as you're not in a chair. However, swimming, groups of people, group sports, sitting in chairs, sunbathing are prohibited. If that's not insanity, I don't know what it means. I would not enter Jersey if you paid me. Maybe I would. Depends on how much you paid me. And how much the security situation is going down the drain. Anyway, the petition is on change.org. Please go sign it to get rid of these particular COVIDiots. Pennsylvania's top COVIDiots, former NCAA linebacker Dr. Rachel Levine, and the top COVIDiot of Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Wolf, who offers no hope. We just hope that he's gone ahead of schedule. Next, we'll look at the jet streams, and we're going to look at them from the polar view this time. Here's the geographic pole, and check out the meridional jet stream flow. You've got cold air being injected down, you've got warm air being injected up. Here is the southern geographic pole, and you can see once again extreme meridional jet stream flow on both poles. Here are the eastern world's jets. Here are the western world's jets. Major split happening there in the North Atlantic. Here are water vapor maps for Europe and Africa. Once again, thanks to our international viewers. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Australia and Oceania. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from the Far East. Places such as Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, South Korea, North Korea, China, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, etc. Next, looking at lightning maps. A bunch of lightning around Central America. It's lightningmaps.org, by the way. It's good times. Here's the U.S. Doppler radar. And I believe we see some Bigfoot activity right here. That's a Sasquatch circle, if I ever saw one. And I think we have a Yeti circle up here, so that's pretty crazy. Probably the wintertime Yeti are fleeing Canada because there's probably too many COVIDiots there. We've got actually two. We've got two Bigfoot circles here, one over central Illinois and one over central Iowa. So certainly some Sasquatches coming through dimensional portals here, showing up in those states. Please keep your eye out for Sasquatches. And that's probably some artifacts because of Doppler radars. Let's see if it shows up on the zoomed in view. And you can't see it there. It's some sort of an artifact. Undoubtedly. And let's move on to the US water vapor map. There's where things are located. And we're going to look at Pennsylvania for once, as we've got some dry air pushing across the state. And I will cross over this boundary very soon where I'm located, which is right around here. That's where the Lehigh Valley is located, folks. As I broadcast a live stream once again from behind the toilet paper mic at the Smash Bunker. Can you hear the rumble of the Smash Bunker? Well, what's making that sound is classified. And by the way, thanks to our subscribe stars and to our patrons, the true support of the content, as YouTube tries its best to pay us nothing. By the way, we've somehow generated zero revenue throughout May. So I don't know how that could possibly be. Please leave a comment if you're seeing ads on the videos. We're currently not getting paid for any of the content. We'll keep you posted as to whether that's changing. So consider becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/smashamash. You can also do a one-time donation on PayPal. All the links are below the video. Thanks to the Smash team for leaving comments, sharing the content on your social media, and attempting to get people to understand the distinction between their and a hole in the ground. While we study the sun, the Rosetta Stone of all cosmology. Here is the intensitygram to show you no sunspots. Here is the colorized magnetogram to show you one active region up here. That's the thing to keep an eye on throughout the day. And when I say eye on, well, the pun is entirely intentional, I assure you. And last but not least, we'll look at 171 angstroms, the 48-hour SDO view. As we see that active region rising, let's blow it up. Again, that's a 48-hour view there. And you can see that filament looking like it's collapsed back down onto the chromosphere. Here's the full zoom, the full image. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the covidiocy be absent from your galaxy.